Hey, fourth graders! I'm making this video today to show you how to use your realistic fiction writing journal. So first you should have watched the video called Lesson Video on Google Classroom. Now you should be watching this video called Instructions Video. So if you're watching this first, please go back and make sure you watch the video called Lesson Video first, then come back and watch this. All right, so here's how you use your virtual writing journal. I tried to make it organized for you guys, so I hope this helps. I wanted to show you a couple of things. I put a table of contents in your writing journal, so you can actually click on these parts in blue, and it will take you to each section in your writing journal. Right now, your writing journal, without typing into it, is 4 pages. So when you find yourself scrolling and you're really scrolling through your writing journal, remember that you can come to the table of contents and click on each section and it'll take you directly to that section so you don't have to spend so much time scrolling through everything. All right, so that's the first feature. I also wanted to help remind you of what realistic fiction is, and it's stories that are made up, but they could be true. So, Harry Potter, as much as I wish it were true, it's not realistic fiction. That's magic and fantasy. There's not really a Hogwarts school that couldn't actually happen. So, that's not realistic fiction. However, this book called Front Desk by Kelly Yang, that is a realistic fiction story. It says here, realistic fiction users, excuse me, realistic fiction stories are often based on a true story in the writer's life. Use a time in your life that you could turn into a made up story. So then we talk about this book, The Front Desk by Kelly Yang, is a realistic fiction story. She used lots of real experiences from her life to write a made up story. And so in the lessons video, she talked about this story. When this girl was 10 years old, she really did work at the front desk, but there's other parts of the story that she made up to turn it into a good fiction story. So there's true parts, but overall the story is still made up. So here's some strategies where you can that you can use to get story ideas from your own life. So just like the author Kelly Yang did, right? She thought about a time in her own life and used that to turn into a story. You're going to think about some times from your own life and use that to make up a story. And so here's some different ways you can try getting ideas from your life to create a fiction story. Think about times you felt strong emotion. Maybe think about places that hold stories. For me, um, if I think about my classroom, there's a lot of stories in that place. There's a lot of stories when I think about being in my classroom. Maybe when you think about being on the playground or the soccer field, that's a place that has a lot of stories for you. Maybe you want to get a story idea when you think about moments you've had with important people. Maybe your brother, your grandma, your auntie, someone like that. Maybe you can get a story idea from the first or last time you did something. Think about the first time you rode a bike or the last time you sang in front of an audience. I could think about the first time I drove a car. Those are usually big, important moments that lead to good stories. So you can use this section to brainstorm story ideas from your life. And so it's got these 4 categories from our poster above. A place where you can brainstorm ideas about when you felt a strong emotion, a place that holds stories, moments with important people, or the first or last time you did something. The text in blue here is the example that we watched in the lessons video, just so you can have an example and help remember what you should be working on. So after you've brainstormed some ideas from your own life that you could turn into a made up story, you're going to, just like the video, try and think of like how would the story go if you were going to turn it into a fiction story. And so you're not really writing the whole story yet, you're just writing little blurbs or thinking about the story instead of writing the whole one. So these boxes have a place for you to put the story idea you want to write about. Maybe you are writing about the first time you scored a goal. And then you're going to think of how the story could go if it was made up. Because remember, you're not telling me about your actual real life. You're using your real life to inspire a made up story. So again, in blue here, we have the example from our lessons video. So she took that moment from her own life when she was dancing in the gym and slipped and used that to inspire a made up story. Maybe in the story, there's a girl who's dreading going to gym class because she hates dancing. She decides to pretend to hurt her ankle on the way to gym, but instead of getting to leave class, she has to stay and be the DJ. So we haven't written out a whole story. We've just thought about a time from our real life that could make up a story, and then thought about if I did make a story, what would it look like? That's your goal for now, and I'll update you in the next couple of days on what to add.